What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're going to jump in and touch on Destiny 2 Update 4.01. And this has gone live in the game today with a handful of different fixes and changes in the patch. And so we have a bunch of the more minor fixes, but also some small sandbox adjustments, plus there are reward fixes for missing loot, as well as the introduction of new crafting consumable, and even vendor updates like for Xur's dodgy armor stats, plus a bunch more which we'll touch on in the video. So as always guys, I hope you enjoy this one, and feel free to hit that subscribe button below if you do. And so a couple of things to touch on in this video, but initially, for the patch notes. For any folks playing Trials of Osiris this weekend, bear in mind they fixed a problem where players weren't receiving the expected rewards on post-flawless wins. And on that subject they say, once players have gone flawless in a given week, they now have a chance of earning Adept weapon drops on any Trials ticket that has earned 7 or more wins while the flawless pool is active, regardless of loss counts. And they add that this will reset weekly. So that's going to be useful, but also, they fixed an issue where Adept Trials weapons were dropping for wins past 7 on a passage of confidence without first requiring a flawless ticket. And they say this is a byproduct of something we've been working on over the last season to improve Adept drop rates post-flawless, but importantly that one is now fixed. Another interesting one for the patch today, but Bungie decided to add a consumable item for crafting that allows us to view the counts of all the elements we're holding, so they've said that this can be acquired through the relic conduit, and also it isn't a limited item, so it can be discarded and reacquired at any time. And we can see the new consumable right here. There is actually a prompt at the relic conduit in the enclave, and it's called the relic tether, and we can see that it shows all of the different element counts. So you can either view it in this menu, but also we can acquire it, and then basically it'll sit inside of the inventory, but can be deleted and reacquired at any time if you want the space. So let us know what you think about that fix right there. Also on the subject of the Adept weapons from Master Vow, currently they aren't showing up inside of the weapon collection at the crafting menu, as we can only see the normal ones, so it doesn't immediately tell us if there'll be any craftable elements on the Adept versions of weapons. But now moving back to the patch notes, they say there have been several stability and crash fixes. They've also fixed a problem where the seasonal pursuit weapon ornaments were not available on the exotic archive vendor, another problem where exotic armor purchased from Xur had slightly different stats than advertised, so hopefully the advertised stats will now reliably drop when we pick them up. They also fixed a problem where our all destination material purchase options were not rotating with the daily reset, and they've updated Vanguard ritual bounties to gate status effect bounties on matching element burn weeks. And for example, Void bounties should appear when Void is a featured element on the Vanguard Ops playlist. There's also another fix for a problem where the seasonal challenge for Scorn strike bosses could be incremented by completing any strike, and a problem where the Vostok and Eternity Crucible maps were not being weighted heavily enough for Season 16, and so I believe those should now be showing up more. For the sandbox right here, and initially we have weapons, they fixed a problem where the Eyes of Tomorrow rocket launcher was not tracking as intended and would sometimes kill the wielder, another issue that was causing the Empirical Evidence sidearm to be less stable than intended, and it's been updated and will feel a bit closer to the Breach Light sidearm. Then they fixed a problem where Explosive Personality was displaying the wrong RPM stat in the crafting screen, an issue where the Adaptive Munitions perk would no longer increment when the target had a weakened debuff. Plus, the damage bonus from the Bait and Switch perk has been increased from 20 to 35%. That's a pretty good buff right there for that bonus, which can be fairly decent. And then they fixed an issue where Drifter would always give the stasis containment device from the stasis prototype quest after the quest is complete. Problems where the immovable object and tilting at windmills had unclear descriptions. Plus one where grounded sword light attacks off an edge could be looped until the player runs out of ammo, letting the player move long distances through the air. And they fixed a problem where the Divinity exotic weapon had 2 kill tracker columns. They've also adjusted some enhanced perks, so they've adjusted the enhanced chain reaction and field prep to provide benefits to more archetypes. And then for crafting, they added an additional deep sight resonance extraction option that focuses only on neutral element. And finally, an issue where the Father's Sins Wellspring Sniper didn't initialize the kill tracker as active on crafting the weapon. So give us any thoughts on those rewards and weapon focus changes. But for abilities, they fixed a problem where players could cancel Nova Warp's cast sequence and spawn the initial detonation blast without costing super energy. Certainly a potentially problematic one there. They also fixed an issue where the Echo of Instability fragment was not activated by initial explosions from Void Spike grenades, an issue where players could remain invisible by timing sword attacks with invisibility activations, and an issue where the Hunter ornament Nemean Strides appears twice in the transmog menu when acquired and equipped. There are a bunch of fixes for armor here as well, and they've made adjustments to the physical melee scaler on Wormguard and 1-2 Punch to prevent high damage output, and so that's essentially a new cap on the damage output for those in combination. They fixed various problems where applying mods to armor pieces is costing more glimmer than intended. plus an issue where the Osmiomancy gloves lost a grenade after dying, an issue where the activator for the exotic Hunter perk Voltaic Mirror could become perpetually enabled, and they fixed a problem where players could continue to block a few seconds after the Arc Strider's super deactivated while wearing Raiju's harness. On top of this, there was a problem where the countdown for the resist buff perks were not synced with the duration of Duskfield grenades, and one where Fury Conductor wasn't being granted on Shield Throw Void melees for the ACDO feedback fence. There was also a problem where sidearm mods were not dropping. There are even changes for activities here, so they fixed various problems for Gambit, one where stacking the Primeval Slayer buff also ramped up super recharge to larger than intended rates, another where players could spawn into maps early by defeating themselves in the ready room, and then one where players would see an empty box next to the enemy player names when invading, plus an issue when placing Titan barricades through allied invasion portals could disable the portal. So as we're seeing here, a hell of a lot of bug fixes coming out of the Witch Queen in the recent season. For PsyOps, they fixed problems where revives didn't count towards scoring, and issues where enemies sometimes didn't spawn after entering the Dark Forest area. In Lost Sectors, they fixed an issue that was causing rare blue engrams to drop from the Lost Sector chests. Plus in Vow of Disciple there are a bunch of fixes, issues where players could bring relics out of the exhibition area, issues with Caretaker's permastun, the glitch that allowed players to spread Leeching Force and charge it at the same time, and a few other minor fixes. Similar for Throne World as well, problems where runes could appear before activating Deep Sight and couldn't be revealed again if the player didn't complete the puzzle from the first attempt. Qualica Pursuit's auto-completing reward steps, and loosen executioner rotations. But here there was a problem where multiple vehicles had missing flavor text when viewed from the details menu, issues with Prime Gaming entitlements not unlocking. They also fixed an issue where the Ruinous Clash shader appeared twice in the customization menu, and the same issue was present for the Paragon shader, and they fixed a problem where the seasonal shotgun Reckless Endangerment couldn't be reacquired. Next though, for the update today and for the Wellspring attack, they fixed a problem that could cause teams to incorrectly wipe during Master Wellsprings when the objective is completed with only a few seconds left on the timer. So a few dodgy timer things going on there, and they said they added a failsafe so that carryable objects in both the ritual and boss phases of Wellspring won't spawn out of bounds. And so just a few adjustments to some of those frustrating bugs. And in the Altar of Reflection, they fixed a problem where players could not complete the evidence board quest, and that was Altar Reflect, due to the activity not showing up properly on the map, so if that's one you need to get done, it should be visible on Throne World. But in the Vow of Disciple raid, they fixed a problem where Rulk would suddenly become shy and no longer transition back to his initial phase, basically blocking progress in the encounter, another frustrating one. But also they've adjusted the problem where the Caretaker's health threshold UI wouldn't consistently display for all players, and so the health value shown on the boss should now be correct. Then there's the update for the artifact, so players with all 25 artifact mods unlocked can still reset the artifact for no additional glimmer cost. And so once every mod is unlocked, resets can be done for free. Kind of a weird change, but then for abilities, they fixed a problem where Devour would sometimes grant less buff time if multiple targets were killed in quick succession. Plus, they've added some aim assist to the enemy's Axion Bolt's secondary projectile to help players hit bolts that are chasing themselves and fellow allies, so they should be a bit less obnoxious inside of PvP content. And then for text chat, virtual keyboard support is now available for console text chat. That's certainly a useful one, but also improvements have been made to make text chat messages more legible. And they've added a system message text field that is italicized to display system text. Then additionally, local chat now has orange tint for differentiation as opposed to the white color. Plus they say they've adjusted color distinction for in-game colorblind settings. And so all of those should now be improved. And now with the master difficulty Vow of Disciple being available, it is worth a quick mention that on top of the gear, the adept drops and stuff like that, there are just a couple of additional associated triumphs, so completing the raid on master difficulty is one triumph, and that rewards a sparrow called Gouging Light. It's a pretty cool one. Then the other associated triumph is Pyramid Conqueror to complete all encounter challenges on master difficulty. And obviously with this being a title requirement, that means a full month of challenges in the rotation need to also be completed in the master version. So there's definitely a bit of work there if you're working towards Disciple Slayer. For today though guys, that's everything that we have to speak about in this video. So as always, I hope you have enjoyed this one. Let us know any thoughts you have on the changes that we've got in the patch down in the comments section. And if you found the video useful, a rating below really does help us out, but also be sure to get subscribed to the channel and turn on notifications so I can keep you posted with a bunch more Destiny 2 news. However, for now, I appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.